It is a beautiful day in our neighborhood. Hope it is a beautiful day in your neighborhood as well. This is the Tulsa World Scene podcast, affectionately known as Fred, although that might change, um, or it might not. Anyway, we're here to talk about things happening in cultures high and low in and around Tulsa. I'm here with the lovely and talented Jimmie Trammell and the lovely and talented Grace Wood. Um, and let's start and let's get organic. Grace, you have something coming up this weekend that starts organic and then gets Osage.
Yeah, so this Saturday I have a story about a Bartlesville couple who started just this grassroots organic farming initiative there in Bartlesville, just kind of working to provide like homegrown, pesticide-free, synthetic fertilizer-free produce, and also like allergy-friendly and gluten-free baked goods to the people of Bartlesville. And they've just really taken off there. And I believe it was in 2021, they were actually at the Bartlesville Farmers Market selling their goods. And the head of catering for Killers of the Flower Moon, the movie that's coming out later this year, came over and sampled one of their allergy-friendly muffins. And he was like, I've got to have more of these. So he recruited them to actually cater the Killers of the Flower Moon production. They would bring in their fresh produce and baked goods and stuff to the set and catered the wrap party for the movie when it was all said and done. So they're a really interesting couple with a great story, and that'll come out this Saturday.
Okay. But up to now, they've been primarily just in the Bartlesville, working in the Bartlesville area, or do they also try to work at the Tulsa Farmers Market or some of the other ones around the area?
Primarily in Bartlesville. So they do the farmers market there, and then they have something called a CSA. I think it stands for community supported agriculture. So basically people will pay them a fee, and then every week this couple will bring them fresh grown produce from their garden and just give them like a little box of it, almost like a little subscription service every week. So that's mostly what they've been focusing on, but it sounds like they have plans to keep expanding. So we'll just have to keep an eye on them and see what they do.
Hey, I'm not smart about this, so somebody help me out. What is the difference between organic food and not organic food?
I'm not the best expert to ask either, but I think it just kind of comes down to the way it's grown. And they just try to focus on like not over-tilling the land and not using like synthetic fertilizers and pesticides that can have like harsh chemicals in them. So I think that's kind of where it comes from, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it deals primarily in how what sort of pesticides might be used. If they use a chemical pesticide, or if they plant certain plants that keep bugs away, rather, I'm like, well, I'm not really big into that, but and parts of it is very tightly regulated, parts of it are not, but and that's one reason why you'll find often in regular grocery stores, at least, maybe not so much at a place like Farmers Market where you're dealing with directly with the grower, that organic labeled foods, whether it's produce or some kind of prepared thing, is usually more expensive because it's more hands-on to grow, basically. So that's unfortunately the trade-off, that the more natural, unquote, a product is, the more unnatural the price is going to be. But I know that people are trying to work that out. But what you said that they catered part of the Killers of the Flower Moon set were at the wrap party. Did they share with you a lot of stories about, is Leonardo DiCaprio wanting them to send muffins his way, or?
Apparently, he did have a couple of special requests. He really liked some of their muffins and cookies that they would make. And apparently, like, they would kind of get a request from the chef who was on set being like, hey, set aside a couple dozen of these cookies because Leo wants them. So he would have like his own little orders going through. But they just said their experience on set was really positive and everyone was really, really nice. So,
Well, now everybody's going to want to know, what sort of cookies does Leonardo DiCaprio need to have in Oklahoma?
I don't have the exact details on that, but just note that they were gluten, dairy, soy, and nut-free and allergy friendly.
Leo's got a 6 degrees of separation connection to Tulsa, in that when there was a short-lived TV version of The Outsiders, he was in the series. He was too young to be one of the main characters like Pony Boy, but the people who cast the series recognized, like, oh my gosh, this kid's like an angel. Let's use him somehow. So he was in the TV series in a minor role.
What year was that?
1990.
Huh. Obviously, it didn't run too terribly long. How do you know how many?
13 episodes.
13 episodes. I don't know why. 1990. Where was I? Oh well, I was probably, the fact that I have to think about it probably anyway. Was it a network thing? Was it?
It was on Fox. It was a mid-season replacement on Fox. Then it premiered, ironically, the exact 7 years to the day after the movie came out in 1983, which is a weird coincidence. But I didn't mean to get us off Killers of the Flower Moon. Obviously, that's a huge deal. And everyone who's read the book, myself included, just says the book is fantastic.
The book is fantastic. And what a lot of people, I think, don't quite realize is that it's not the only book about the Osage murders. There have been a number of books going back to the early 1930s, I think, that have made use of that situation, sometimes for fictional stories, sometimes as documentary. And so the reason that I bring that up is that, as Grace pointed out, the movie The Killers of the Flower Moon, about the Osage murders of the 1920s, will be released finally sometime this year. There's some discussion of when exactly that will be. And now this has been promised for at least, I mean, the last thing I think we heard, it was going to be in the December of 2022, but it was actually, wasn't it supposed to be released earlier than that? Do we remember that, or am I just imagining things?
I'm not sure, but now we're to the point where it was filmed 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the buzz now is that it will be released at, it'll be shown for the first time at Cannes Film Festival, perhaps.
Okay. Well, I know that whenever it appears, we are going to have, the Tulsa World is going to have a major package about everything about not only the story told in Killers of the Flower Moon, but everything around it, impact today, not only of the story, but of the motion picture. And the man who wrote the book, David Grand, will be in town late April, because he has a new book that's going to be coming out. I have an advanced copy. It is called The Wager, a tale of shipwreck, mutiny, and murder. Set in, it is a true story about the Wager was the name of an English ship that left England, I believe, in 1740. 2 years later, a makeshift raft containing about 30 people lands in Argentina, saying that they were members of the Wager crew. It was a shipwreck, and they were the only ones to survive. I'm about 6 months after that, on the other side of South America, another little makeshift raft lands in I think it's Patagonia, and they say, no, what happened was there was a mutiny, and 30 people who did the mutiny got in a raft and went that way, and we survivors went to the other way. And it becomes this ultimately this courtroom case where it is a life or death matter, because mutiny was punishable by death back in those days. So we'll be talking with Mr. Grand about this, and I'm sure we'll bring up Killers of the Flower Moon as that gets closer. But if we want to talk about another book that we should talk about, I happen to have it here as well. The University of Tulsa Presidential Lecture Series is going to be bringing Anthony Doerr, author of Cloud Cuckoo Land, there we go, and All the Light We Cannot See, Pulitzer Prize winner, and he'll be discussing his work in a free lecture March 28th at the Reynolds Center on the TU campus, and we'll have a talk with him about that coming in Sunday's Tulsa World. Jimmie, what have you got coming up for us?
I've got some book news Sunday about Dr. Laverne Ford Wimberly, who, if you remember, became a viral sensation during the pandemic for dressing up in her Sunday best, even though the church services were only virtual. There was no way she was going to watch church in her pajamas or whatever else. But her story went viral. Washington Post, every cable news station you can think of, the Today Show, and she has written a book about her life and experiences, which is really neat to learn more about this person who brought some joy to people at a much needed time. That should be in our Sunday newspaper. And then Friday, I'll have a story on Elle King, who is playing a sold-out show at Kane's Ballroom, and she has a song titled Tulsa, but it's not what you think. But it's really, really fun song. Think Tulsa spelled backwards. I'm sure it's not the first time somebody has spelled Tulsa backwards and got this that conclusion, but it may be the first time somebody made that into art, which she did very well.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. But going back to the lady, her name again, Wimberly?
Dr. Wimberly.
Wimberly. I remember seeing those, and her Sunday best. I mean, she has an impressive sense of style and an incredible closet from what I remember, because I don't think she had the same outfit on.
That's right.
52
consecutive Sundays, never repeated a dress, never repeated a hat.
And these were some impressive hats. So,
wow.
All right. Well,
I'm looking at pictures right now because I wasn't familiar with her. Wow, she looks amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She is in a whole lot of ways. She is a very impressive woman. So,
Awesome.
All right. Well, those are things to look forward to in the upcoming Tulsa World, available at fine newsstands everywhere and at tulsaworld.com. Want to thank you all for spending a little bit of your time with us, and we will gladly see you later.
Bye.
Bye.